At least 8 people have been injured in a rocket attack on Kharkiv.
Berlin faces controversy over a potential bid for the 2036 Olympics.
At least 8 people have been injured after a rocket attack on the centre of Kharkiv, according to the regional prosecutor's office. 25 cars and at least 15 buildings were also damaged in the attack, the office said.
О 9 годині 55 хвилин було нанесено ракетний удар по центральній частині міста, а саме по Шевченківському району. Зараз продовжується збір інформації про травмованих, оскільки дуже тут щільна цивільна забудова, багато закладів і освіти, і медичних закладів, і житлових будинків.
It comes as the governor of Kherson reported a Russian drone dropped explosives on the outskirts of the city, injuring at least 5 people. Meanwhile, the Russian Ministry of Defense has released footage of what it says shows the crews of Ka-52 helicopters striking a temporary deployment point of the Ukrainian armed forces.
It is a rare public display of Russian secret agents. The Russian state television interviewed 2 former spies who have returned to Moscow as part of the biggest prisoner exchange since the Cold War. Prior to their arrest in Slovenia in 2022, the couple were posing as Argentine citizens and allegedly had been using Slovenia as their base since 2017.
Нам угрожали, что аргентинская сторона якобы хотела забрать наших детей, тоже, что дети могут быть отданы в прием в другую семью. Но мы ощущали, что спецслужба Словении, она делала тоже все возможное, чтобы сохранить, оставить детей в Словении, чтобы мы были вместе.
The West released Russian spies as well as a convicted Russian assassin, while Russia released journalists, a former US Marine, and political activists. One of the political activists released by Russia is Ilya Yashin, who was serving time in jail for criticizing Russia's war in Ukraine. Upon his release to Germany, the Russian opposition politician thanked his supporters on a live stream.
Для меня очень важно доносить свою точку зрения и вести антивоенное просвещение среди граждан России, которые остаются в России.
The chief of the Committee to Protect Journalists says that the release of journalists from Russian captivity does not mean that press freedom in Russia is improving.
Our concern is that this doesn't set a precedent for future governments to feel that they can simply take innocent journalists, for example, imprison them and use them as bargaining chips for the release of prisoners abroad.
She adds that Russia was the 4th largest jailer of journalists worldwide in 2023, making it one of the most restrictive environments for journalists globally.
Iran and Russia have agreed to fast-track their friendship, according to political officials that attended a meeting in Tehran on Tuesday. Secretary of Russia's Security Council, Sergei Shoigu, met with Iran's new president, Masoud Pezeshkian, amid increasing hostilities in the Middle East. In a document provided by the Iranian government, Pezeshkian referred to Russia as a friend, with a Russian delegate emphasizing the need to speed up the build of the North-South Corridor, an international transport hub connecting the countries. Pezeshkian also spoke about Gaza, describing the assassination of Hamas's top leader, Ismail Haniyeh, as a violation of international law and stating Israel will receive a, quote, response for its crimes. The talks come as the US and its allies work to prevent a wider regional war after Israel killed Iran-allied militants. The European Commission also called for calm in the region, with the spokesperson telling reporters in Brussels its leaders continue to work to defuse the tensions.
Poland's defense ministry signed 2 key offset deals with Boeing and General Electric for the purchase of Apache aircrafts. In total, the agreements are worth about 230 million euros. The deals were signed by Polish Deputy Defense Minister, who says it will significantly enhance Poland's national security.
Armia polska jest przed pozyskaniem tych śmigłowców, które wzmocnią w sposób realny naszą gotowość, nasze bezpieczeństwo wobec tego, co się dzieje poza granicą Rzeczypospolitej Polskiej. Mam na myśli wojnę na Ukrainie.
The contract with Boeing is valued at roughly 93 million euros. The agreement with General Electric is worth about 123 million euros. The purchase of Apache attack helicopters was announced by the previous Polish government in 2022.
You have emerging feelings of nationalism, a sense that people are being left behind, a sense that people's freedoms are being denied, the sovereignty of the nation is at stake. And a lot of this really coincides with a rise of immigration and a cost of living crisis. So people have these first-hand experiences of grievances. And a lot of these negative feelings are projected onto an other. This is what we commonly see for any of us who study crowd behavior. It's that there is always a tipping point where people feel emboldened and enabled to act on those feelings. And it's typically when they see others doing the same thing.
Rioters in Belfast have thrown petrol bombs and missiles at police vehicles in a second night of chaos as violent disorder continues across Britain. Northern Ireland police warned people to stay away from certain parts of the city as they attempted to restore order. Several blazes were lit throughout the evening in the Sandy Row and Donegal Road areas of the city.
A judge on Monday ruled that Google's search engine has been illegally exploiting its dominance to squash competition and stifle innovation. The decision could shake up the internet and hobble one of the world's best-known companies. The highly anticipated decision issued by a U.S. district judge comes nearly a year after the start of a trial putting the U.S. Justice Department against Google. The decision was made 3 months after the two sides presented their closing arguments in early May. These included testimonies from top executives at Google, Microsoft, and Apple.
This could be the centerpiece of Germany's Olympic bid, but also symbolic of the controversy around it. Berlin's Olympic Stadium has been used for the country's top sporting events, from the Euro 2024 to last year's Special Olympics. But it has a dark past. It was built for the 1936 Olympics under the Nazis. Now, the German Olympic Sports Confederation is considering bidding for the 2036 Olympics, the 100-year anniversary. Supporters say it will let the country show how far democracy has come, but opponents say they're concerned the sign it could send.
And I think what would happen is that everybody would just talk about that year, and we cannot tell now what Germany will look like in 2036. We really don't know how democratic and nice Germany will be in that year.
The Interior Minister was in Paris last month to sign a declaration for a bid for the Games. The government says it prefers the 2040 Olympics as it marks the 50-year anniversary of reunification. The country could have European competition for both. London's mayor says he wants his city to host the 2040 Games, while Hungary is considering a bid for 2036. A spokesperson for the Ministry of Interior and Community told Euronews that the government will be following closely upcoming talks between the IOC and the German Olympic Sports Confederation. They would not say whether the government would support a bid for the 2036 Olympics. Talks were organized to gauge the public mood. The leading opposition party, the Christian Democrats, say they're in favor of hosting the Games, but are concerned there won't be enough public support.
I think this is the most important task, and to be honest, I don't perceive this movement among the German public today, at least. Certainly, it still can be created in the upcoming future. But there's a long way to go.
Critics say money instead should be focused on sports infrastructure in need of repair.
It would cost us 240 million euros to renovate all of the sport infrastructure in Berlin, while when we host the Olympic Games, the estimated sum for just the security measurements would be 2 billion euros. So that is really a big difference, and we should first do our own homework before hosting a big event.
The German Olympic Sports Confederation says a decision on what year it will bid for the Games will be made in 2025.